All right, it says we're live. Let's see, make sure. Thank you, Emily, for coming today. I'm so excited that you're here. Just want to make sure I get us off Facebook so I don't have the weird echo. The tech of going live always gets me. So thank you for being here. I'm so excited to welcome my friend and client, Emily Reagan. And Emily just closed the doors to her program, her revamped program. She's going to tell us all about it. But I wanted to bring her on and ask her some questions because I had the honor of getting to help Emily plan out her pre-launch. And I'm excited to talk to her about it. So Emily, hello, tell us all about you.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited about this conversation because I'm so tired about talking about my launch and my product that I'm just excited to talk about like the back end, behind the scenes stuff. So I am a freelancer. I've been working in digital marketing since 2009, just helping clients build their business, grow their audience, nurture their audience, launch their products, deliver their products, like all the things behind the scenes. And I have a course teaching women mainly women, how to be digital marketing assistants. And so we just revamped the course. I ran into a little bit of a trademark issue and decided this last year to really hone in on some messaging and just kind of redo some things. And so this is my first time launching. I can say this course, even though it's like the same one, but revamped, but it felt like a brand new launch to me. And we just closed the doors. It just feels like forever ago. I guess that was Wednesday.
Yeah, not even a week ago, but just a few days ago, right?
Yes, yeah, and we did really well.
We did really well. Oh yeah, I'm so excited about everything. I want you to tell us too, like, I love your story because like you're a mom of four, right? You kind of, I don't want to say fell into this world, but like in some respect, because you were also or you are married to someone who was in the military. So tell us a little bit about that, because I think your story is really intriguing and it reminds me of mine to a degree, except less kids and not moving as much.
Yeah. So I went to college, had no idea what I wanted to do, but I've always had this love of writing and have this background in news writing, but I did broadcast electronic media. And it's so funny to say that now, because I used to be so embarrassed that I did broadcast, but I've circled back like in this digital marketing world, like 20 years later. And in between that, I married into the military and we moved every 2 years and I had a new job every 18 months and it was all over the place. This very chaotic resume, but I got my hands into so many different types of related work. My last couple of full-time jobs were all public relations related, but I was still doing the marketing. Social media was starting to come out back then. And so when I had my first child and we had to move, I just couldn't go back to learning a new PR market. I couldn't do another media market. I couldn't start over. I was exhausted. And then everything changed for me with my first child. I just didn't want to go back to being in the office. My husband had been gone so much in the military, especially those first 6 years we were married. We were probably together only half of that time. And so once I had my kid, things changed and I kind of said yes to my first freelance client, not really knowing that this would like blow up and be huge and that I had a skill set that made me very in demand because I had a little bit of the tech, the creative and the marketing aspects. And my clients used to call me their VA. I was never an admin VA. I was always doing the digital marketing task. And so I had no problems finding clients, booking out. And yeah, it's been perfect for me. And suddenly that resume that was all over the place that I was embarrassed about has like paid off. And it makes me, now I see it as like a way to showcase how adaptable I am. Like, look at all this stuff I've done. And especially in this space when things are so dynamic and changing anyway. So it's just kind of fun that it like circled back into something positive and goes back to my degree a little bit and in this weird, like long way.
Yeah, I love your story. And like I said, I think I fell into it probably more so, but I just love the fact, and I talked about this on a recent podcast, like that you just put yourself out there and you just like, I think you and me kind of the same thing, like, okay, I'm just going to work and then figure things out as I go. And it's turned into like these wonderful, beautiful businesses where we get to help people. And so, and I get to help you. So let's talk about because I helped you with your pre-launch. Tell me about your launches in the past. Like, had you ever done pre-launch content? How did your launches go?
Yeah, I wish I had everything in front of me. It's kind of in my head, but when I first launched, I was very, very ignorant. It was blissful. And I just jumped in and I had initial success. And my first launch, I mean, I had no one on my email list, but I knew what I like believed in what I was doing so much. So I did everything wrong, but I also knew I needed to get going. And I think my second launch, I had made 24,000, and that had been my highest one since. And so I was kind of had that like initial success and then like kind of plateaued, and I expect the numbers to keep going up. And so it was disappointing when they didn't. And then of course COVID happens and the pandemic happens. And I remember having a launch. My last live launch was October 2020. And I remember making about 18,000. And I had a couple people, I didn't have like the best cohort and the best quality. There was some great students in there, but I remember I had a refund or two or a quitter or two. And it was just feeling off with my messaging and the quality of my students. And I remember talking to another fellow copywriter, and she's like, you have a like psychographic issue here. And so I kind of went into hiding a little bit for the next year and was revamping things. I ran into a trademark issue where someone had stolen my name, and I decided it wasn't a name I wanted to fight for or keep for, and I wanted to go in a different direction. So I really had 2021 as a year of building. And so coming into this launch, I really needed it to be successful, to be honest. Like, I'd been doing the client work, I've been paying a team to support my business and grow my audience, but I needed a successful launch. And I was very real with you about that.
Yeah, no pressure whatsoever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it wasn't like desperation, but it was more like internal pressure to do well. Again, because you want your numbers to keep going up. And I had done a lot of hard work with my own messaging, my branding, some trademark work, and I felt much clearer. But it just felt like that sweet, like ignorant, like stage of just launching and not really thinking about it was over for me. And so then I found myself in this position where I'm overthinking everything. I know how hard launches are because I help my clients do it. And then when it's my own business, oh my God, I don't love it. I don't love it because I'm trying to work on the visibility pieces. Like, I don't have time to do all this stuff I normally would have done for my clients. And so I knew, in talking to you, I'm like, I know I've worked with so many clients on other launches. I know how important the pre-launch was. Like, I knew that was going to make or break me. And I also knew I had no time when I'm revamping this course to give that any kind of focus or attention it deserved. And so that's where you came into the picture.
So with your other clients, why did you know like a pre-launch was so important? Like, from what you had seen for yourself, since you help people do not the same thing, but help people around launches.
Oh, I mean, I've been on teams where the launch wasn't successful. Like, there was no buzz generating, like wait lists weren't growing. I've also been on a team where I felt all of that, and like it's kind of more of like a gut feeling almost, but I've been on a team where we opened the doors and made $1 million. So it's like I have experienced both. And I know what it's like when the email list is excited, when social is buzzing. And I also knew I didn't have that. Like, I didn't have that. I mean, I was kind of like, didn't even start my Instagram until 2019. So like, I was behind the curve. Like, I had never really promoted myself. So I was trying to play catch up. So yeah, I've experienced both. And I know, I think I remember Stu McLaren being one of the first people who opened my mind to like the pre-launch, and what he taught was like a 3-month runway. And I remember my client being like, watch Stu. So every time Stu was launching, I'm like, oh my God, this is like 3 months of strategic content with like testimonials in the PS. And I'm like, I knew I wasn't doing any of that. I was just struggling to get my course out of me and like redo my sales page.
Right. No, totally. And something too, I think you said earlier that I want to touch on too. I think it's frustrating you know, as business owners, when we know we have a really great product, but we don't feel that buzz, right? When we know we're putting out something really amazing, and then we were like, wait, why is this person opening the door? Like, where's the disconnect? And I think we've talked about it, and obviously I'm a business owner too, right? It's hard to see it for your own business sometimes. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And I don't want to be, I'm like overthinking things, but I've seen the clients I've worked with who've been naive about it and they just see what they want to see. And I didn't want to be like that either. I don't know if that makes sense, but I didn't want to like convince myself there was something there when there wasn't. And I think we kind of sometimes need outside help I don't know, just show us the truth.
Totally. So when we were, tell me a little bit about how, from your perspective, what it was like when we were working on the pre-launch. Like, what did it feel like? What were we doing? What was the experience like for you?
It's so funny because I feel like I know a lot in this space, but after working with you, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Like I felt like I learned so much that I was like only scratching the surface on what I thought was pre-launch content. And you would walk me through. My favorite part was when you're asking me random stories and I just get to like word vomit on you. And somehow you tied that into a marketing message, and watching you do that, I felt like I walk away with the ability to do that more confidently and see the stories in myself too. And I mean, I've done your segues training. Like I know this is a thing, but like seeing how you did it was just amazing. And I feel like I'm going to have that tool for life. But I honestly wasn't entirely sure what that would look like. And once I saw, because I felt like all my other clients, like everyone's a hot mess. I don't think I've had any client that was like perfectly organized going into launch, had everything written. And then with you, I was like, this is like another way of living. Like you had all the emails planned out. I'm like, this is how I wanted my clients to be all these years. We had a plan. We had a plan when the webinar fill up came up. You helped me plan out like the content for my podcast, which like I had no mental capacity to even tackle. And you basically planned out 2 emails a week for 8 weeks. I mean, that was the major plan, but there was like a strategy behind it, like these inline mentions and creating buzz and filling in like the backstory of my course and how it got there. And it worked. I had people in my inbox hitting reply, not like in the masses or anything, but like before it was like, you know, stone cold silent. And now I had some people like chirping a little bit. And I was like, this is more fun. It's like confident building going into launch, and just to have that organized and have that planned out. The rest of my launch was not perfect. It wasn't, we made a lot of mistakes, but like I have to say that was the one piece that went well.
I love what you said too about like the confidence building, because it makes a huge difference. I don't care what it is. Like I feel like even there's something going on right now where I'm like, gosh, when I feel confident, it's like I bring a different energy, and I'm not like super woo, but I am woo enough to be like there's just an energy. And when someone goes into something feeling confident about what they're putting out, what they're saying, it just changes the game.
Totally, totally. And I needed that. And it was also content. It was also stuff like my team was not equipped to do. Like they wouldn't have been able to even touch it. And I see a lot of like new people launching and just kind of pulling it together. But like I knew I was at that spot where I needed to start hiring professionals. And I had to think about who is that first hire going to be for me? Because I thought about sales page writer. I thought about cart open email. I thought about an ad specialist. And for me, it was a no-brainer. I needed pre-launch because all that other stuff, I had those assets in place. I'm not saying they're amazing. I'm not saying I could go back to them, but I just knew how important this was. And this is where I wanted to spend my money and resources. And I just know that from like years of launching stuff and seeing it.
I know it's something that we talked about too, behind the scenes, is that we kind of worked on your message. We spent a decent amount of time at the forefront working on your messaging. So can you tell us a little bit of like what that looked like?
I was probably super needy. I have really struggled with my messaging, and you helped me really and you also have this past where you're familiar with this virtual assistant world and the friends. So like it made it really easy to talk to you about this. But just trying to figure out who we're trying to call in, who we're trying to attract. And because I had had that bad launch with some people who had the wrong mindset for this, I mean, I had to kick people out of my program because they weren't like a good fit, and I like didn't want to repeat that. And so you really helped me like dig into who is the person who's going to be successful and what do they really want, because I can be so like logical and linear about things, where I just wanted to focus on like teaching the tech and the how, and there was so much more to it in attracting the right person with like their emotional dreams and aspirations. And I'm like, but I teach this, and like you would help me kind of like, I don't know, make it prettier, make it more attractive messaging, and stop focusing so much on the how-to type of content that I was probably overproducing.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And I think something there too, it's such a, when we're trying to figure out who we're talking to, it's just like these minor tweaks of really thinking like, okay, is this, if I say this sentence, if I use this wording, does this really call in, we really wanted to call in the go-getter, right? Not the person who's just looking for like a little bit of a side gig. We wanted someone who wanted a flexible side gig, who wants to, make a great living for their family, but they're also at the point where they're ready to go after it and not mess around. And I think that was like some of the tweaking that we were working on in the language and the messaging of figuring out, how do we talk to this person that is the one that's like ready to get up, go after it a little bit, right? Not hustle necessarily. I don't want to make it sound like that, but it was like these little nuances in words that we had to like work out.
Yeah, and because I can't attract someone who's desperate, who's spending their last dime. And let me tell you, I did my first live teaching last night in the course, and I'm looking at all these faces, and I'm teaching the first module or the first lesson live, and I'm kind of intimidated. I think we got some really good students. We got exactly the person we were talking about, and I'm so excited about where they're going to take this. And I already know they can do it based on like the quality of student we've attracted. So it's just going to make my program better. It's going to be all the business owners who hire them happier. It's going to make their businesses better. Like it's like amazing to see and like know that I got the right students like sitting there. And I hope I can deliver. I have like that fear in the back.
Of course you get it. Well, and I think something you're saying here, and Reese and I touched on this yesterday when I did a live with her. And I love doing these lives. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about this a little bit differently even, which is like the pre-launch too is not just to, of course, make money and sell out your stuff. It's to call in the right people. And when we do things on this like really short launch times, we don't have the time to cultivate the relationship for them to understand who we are, how we work. So when we do a pre-launch, it's not just, okay, yeah, we're going to make more sales because we're getting more people ready and buzz. We're also like really calling in those, dream clients, if you will, and making sure that they're the right people, because it doesn't matter if you sell someone a, $2,000, $4,000, $5,000 program. And if they're in your program and they're making your life miserable, that one person can make everything go miserable, right? So
yes.
you can attest from the past. So I love that, like the messaging too is like, okay, not only are we calling in those people, we're really calling in like the people we want to work with and want to do the work. And that when we do that, we can also help them get better results.
Yeah, it's not just about numbers. I know it's easy to get caught in that, but hands down, it's about the quality. And because my reputation's at stake, I refer these students for jobs. So if they can't handle clients well or do the work I train them to do, like my whole business, I feel like is resting on the quality of student I have. And I'm not trying to hit high numbers at all. Like that's not been my goal. And it's so funny because my goal was 20. My goal was 20 and I hit 48. Now I did have some returning students come back, but I like blew my goal out of the water just by doing this launch, which felt so good after like how many months off? 15 months. I hadn't launched in like over 15 months. Like, oh, it was nerve-wracking.
No, and I was so excited when you sent me that text. I was at my sister's when I got it, or the Voxer, and you're like, I just hit my goal. And I was like in tears, right? Like I was so excited for you. Like I think I
Yeah.
get more excited sometimes like than my clients. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so amazing. And I love, and for me too, even as a business owner, the fact that I get to help people do this like pre-launch. And I love that. Okay, we got to like some of the stories that we told in your launch were like they're fresh in my mind. Like they were hilarious. I was thinking about this one. Like there was what about how you like relax to murder, like you watch like Dateline to relax. And I was like, okay, we so have to use that in this pre-launch, right?
And
And
you,
I think that's it. It shows your personality perfectly.
yeah, and you didn't make me sound creepy.
Yeah, like you might have to watch the subject line on this one, but this is
Yeah,
that was like one of my favorite things. So that's one of the things too, is I love like that we get to use like these fun stories, memes. So
yeah,
it's not, we're not just like spitting out like buy my stuff for six
yeah.
weeks. We're like cultivating these fun relationships and letting people get to know us like along the way.
It's so hard to talk about myself. Like I always wanted to be the girl behind the camera. That's why I did broadcast. I was like going to be a news producer and tell everyone what to do. So to put myself out there in this uncomfortable way where, I have to, I don't do a whole lot of selfies, but like I'm posting on Instagram, I'm sharing, I'm putting my face out there. And then to like turn around and talk about myself, like it's very uncomfortable. And when I do it, I want it to be strategic. And I have no problem being open with somebody who's interested but then like put me in a room of people, I don't know, like my father-in-law, and I know he doesn't care. Like he doesn't want to hear like two sentences about me. So it's like I just like shut up. Like the way my personality is. And I'm like very careful about who I share with because like I can read people. And the online space is so weird because you don't get that feedback, right? Like you're not hearing from other people. And I'm like, am I just like oversharing? Like who cares about my pets or my kids or it's like there's like so much noise out there. So to know that we're sharing my love of Dateline with a purpose, that feels good. Otherwise, like I don't know. I don't even know if I'm making sense right now, but like I just want to be strategic about things and I don't want to overshare. I don't like talking about myself. And it's really hard to know like what's okay and what's, I don't know. I'm not a fluffy person either. Like I don't just like post stuff for, vanity and for feedback and engagement, but like knowing that, this puzzle, this gift about puzzles is like showing people how my brain works and makes them want to work with me. Like that's all good. That's all good. And just like, I know I've said this before, but like when you're inside the bottle, we've all heard this adage, it is so hard to read the label. And just having you come on the outside and remind me like what's good and what's worth sharing was so helpful because I'm getting to the point where I've like just produced so much content. I don't know what's come out of my mouth, to who or when or where, what platform, and I don't know what's good anymore. So you're able to like filter that out for me.
100%. I think too, a lot of us, we have so much, we think, oh, I don't know what to say, or was this, and it's just having someone come in with the bird's eye view sometimes it helps like direct us. And that's what I loved being able to come in and do with for you and put out like some super fun stuff. So now that we've gone through this process, and I think you touched on this earlier, like, is this something that you feel like you could implement in the future for yourself?
Oh, for sure. I feel like the framework that you gave me, I could absolutely run with it and I could reuse it 100% the next time. I don't know if I want to because there was just like so much relief in having like a specialist on the team taking care of a very important priority in my business, but absolutely. And I find myself even applying this in like client situations as I read things or hear things and stories and it's very educational. And I mean, I always like to be learning and getting better. And I don't want to go like do this for clients, but it is part of like this marketing world that I'm in to be able to see these holes and like give guidance and maybe plug in some of the holes when I can. But yeah, absolutely. I think that that framework, um, I think that I even like going back to my podcast, like I almost will probably reuse all of the topics and find some way to just like slightly tweak it or retitle it and probably do the same exact thing because I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like this launch had too many moving parts and the next one, and I can see it's setting me up for success for the next one. Like there was a lot of interest generated and people who couldn't join in this round. And I feel like totally equipped to go in and do it again. And I want it to be as like easy as possible, you know? So, but absolutely, I learned so much and I love that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point too, that no matter what launch we do, it's always going to generate like buzz and interest and then help fill our pipeline for the next one. So yeah, I think that's a really great point. So, in general, when we think back to, I know like some of your final results is, I think you said we almost 3 times your last launch, right?
Yeah.
You're clear on your messaging. Is there anything else that you can think of as we wrap up that really helped you along this time?
Oh, well, I don't know if this is okay to say, but like the emotional support that I got from you, I think was killer. It just helped so much, just being able to, I mean, like you were on Voxer with me and I know you over delivered, but launches are just so hard. They're so hard. I mean, even though I've been through a lot, like you still open the doors and expect everyone to come flooding in. And it's like such up and down with your emotions. So I appreciated that aspect, and having someone who's been through a launch before and can kind of like talk me down out of the cliff. Cause I mean, I was there multiple times like this, because it wasn't this like stampede of people signing up on cart open day. And so that always kind of puts me in a panic. But honestly, so that was help, emotional support, which I'm always surprised that I find that I need that. As I become more seasoned business owner, I'm finding that the mindset part's getting hard, and it's like kind of embarrassing to admit, but it is, because you start just like overthinking things. So that was helpful. And then I need to stress this enough. I need to stress this more, that like my launch, even though I've been through launches, was crazy. Like we were making mistakes left and right, and I had lots of learning moments, and I shared some of those with you privately, and I like those. I get better, I get smarter, I learn from mistakes. But I have to say, the pre-launch was the one area that we didn't F up. I mean, can you use that in your marketing, Brenna? I mean, it was like so nice to have like that going right. And I have to reiterate, we had so many new moving parts. We had new messaging, new branding, new webinar, new sales page, new course. And so to have part of that just like solidified, my teammate was really frustrated as like some of the cart open emails like changed. And I think I only had to switch like 2 pre-launch emails because of a webinar, not a webinar, a podcast guest change, so I really didn't have to mess with that. And that's like such peace of mind, because launches are so dynamic. So like, I can't imagine how some of my clients have done it in the past, where it's like, we don't even know what we're posting this week. Like, I can't imagine having made it through with my sanity if I had not had that piece in place. So I can't stress that enough.
Well, thank you. Would you, kind of wrapping up here, would you recommend for people to do a pre-launch or to come on board, as I'm teaching this pre-launch process in my new program that's coming up?
Oh, for sure. Now, is your new program geared for people who've launched before and are just fine-tuning it?
Well, I think you can go for either way,
Yeah.
especially for this program. I think as a beta round, I think it's going to help. I think if you've launched before, it's always going to help, like it's going to help.
Yeah.
But no matter what, I think the process, whether you've launched before or you're someone that's going to continue to launch, or you're someone who is going to be putting out, like doing regular promotional periods, it's going to be super helpful, because I'm basically going to teach you a framework with and give you examples and templates and things like that, so that you have a guide to tell you, okay, this is what I need to plan out, instead of doing the, oh crap, I have this thing coming up, but there's so many, what should I be talking about?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I was going to say the word framework here. Okay, so I have invested in all of the courses. I've done all of the things. Nobody ever teaches pre-launch, and they definitely don't teach it with your framework, which is easy to take and implement for yourself. And so hands down, pre-launch is the most important part of a launch for getting everybody ready. I have business owners come to me all the time saying like, I need help. I need this launch to be successful. I need to hire a VA, and I'm launching tomorrow. And I'm just like, it's too late. Like all of the things you should have been doing, it's too late. So I see this time and time again. So if you're going to invest money in anything, if you have that like course idea already like solidified or whatever that program is, I hands down say pre-launch is way more important than probably anything else.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. And I think it's something too, it's like you need to be working on it. Like I would say like in a perfect world, like 2 months ahead of time, have your stuff planned out. So then if you're able to go into start working on your launch while your pre-launch is working for you, because no matter what, right? Like you're still having, it's a process of putting things out. It's the like I was on a podcast recently. I'm like, no matter what, like I'm not here to sugarcoat, like launching is hard. Like it's just not, but the more you do the system and repeatable and you get people excited, it becomes easier over time. So that's what I'm really excited about you too, is like your next launch is like, okay, now you've got worked out the twink or the, what did I say? Worked out the tweaks of like all these little moving parts since you had changed your course and things were different this time. Like now you have this like ability to go in and do it. And so it makes me super excited. And I'm thrilled about your launch results. So
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful for your help. I don't know if I told you my final number, but I'm looking at my launch debrief sheet because by the time we add in all the payment plans, Brenna, you're going to die. 73,000.
Oh my gosh, that's way more than we even talked about. Are you kidding?
I know. I've been so swamped. I'm the genius who did like close my cart and immediately had a VIP day and like client work. So like I haven't dived into the numbers as much, but yeah, when you add it up, it's crazy.
I'm like sitting here in shock. 73,000
Yeah.
on your revamped course launch. I mean, so now we're looking. That's almost 4 times as much, right? Like, is my mouth or yeah, it's like 3.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huge numbers.
Crazy. And I mean, it was so scary because raising my price was higher. I mean, oh my gosh, it was such like a crazy, crazy launch. But to see that number, so worth it. And it makes it so much easier to go back and invest in like getting help next time. Like I can never go back to doing it all on my own or doing it sloppy or just having one person on my team. Like I can't, to be successful, like you've got to hire help and you've got to grow and you can't stay stuck in the weeds. Like I spend so much time uploading emails into Active Campaign because like like I'm good at that and the segments are in my head and my team wasn't really understanding. And I can't imagine if I had like written everything. I was drowning. There was just so much to do. So I just can't thank you enough. It was like such peace of mind going into the launch, having like your eyes on it and the confidence behind your stories and strategy.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Well, thank you, Emily. I so appreciate you being here. So thank you. Oh, before we go, I want you to tell people where to find you, and especially because we have people in here that are looking for VAs, looking to hire digital marketing assistants to come in and help them with their business. So tell us all the things.
Yeah, well, I'm having the most fun on Instagram, actually. So you can come find me on Instagram if you want to connect over at Emily Reagan PR. But if you are looking to hire a digital marketing assistant, I have a form at hireaunicorn.com. And you just fill that in. It's super informal. And we will post your job opening with my digital marketing assistants. And they do a mix of things from admin, digital marketing, project management. Some of them have some specialists over there or do funnels. So if you're just like, I can't figure out who I need to hire and what, or who is this magical person who's going to fill this role, let's see if my group is there, see if I have somebody for you. And then, yeah, so hireaunicorn.com.
Perfect. I'll throw that in the comments. And two, I want to mention Emily helped me recently. I have some tech stuff I need help with. And she passed me the perfect person to help me like implement the things that now I just need to get organized enough so I can actually have them help me do it. So definitely if you're looking for help, Emily has amazing people. So thank you.
Yeah. And I have more coming after this course.
Right. A lot more. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, anyone about the pre-launch plan program, hit me up in the DM or ask in the comments. So, okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.